Arkansas Board of Directors to order. At this time, we'll have a roll call.
Assistant Mayor Hollibush.
Here.
Director Brewer is absent. Director Minor. Here. Director Hart.
Here.
Director Roberts.
Here.
Director Harris.
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here. This time, we'll stand for our invocation. It'll be given tonight by Director Minor. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Interim Police Chief, Bobby Jordan.
Let us pray. Father, it's with gratitude that we come to you. We appreciate your love, your watch care over all of us, and the issues that are to be seen. Just be with our city employees, guide and direct them in their work and in their home situations. Help us to be safe on the streets, in our cars, and doing things that we know to do. Just guide us in all the decisions and in the decisions that we need to make. We pray for these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Jordan. At this time, our first item of business tonight will be citizens' communication time. If you wish to address the board tonight, it would be beneficial for us if you'd fill out a citizens' communication card. I'll just take these. We already have some that have turned them in tonight, and I'll just take them in the order in which he received them. But Mr. Alan Rogers wishes to address the board tonight. Do you want to go first? Okay, Lane. Mr. Lane Rogers.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
I'm not much of a public speaker, so bear with me on this one. I'm one of the owners of Chubby Cheeks Liquor. I provided you guys with the photograph of the building and everything around it. First thing I want to say is that the police department has helped us as much as they could, and I think it's done an excellent job in some fashions. I'm trying to prevent some of the things that I'm seeing on a daily basis. If you're in that building every day, you see loitering, you see, frankly, what I would perceive as prostitution, drugs, all centering around the hotel to the left and coming through our parking lot, through lanes, through the woods where they used to have a homeless camp in the back there. There still is currently a trail that they travel through the woods there all the way to Chapel Ridge at this point. So we get a lot of people coming through, which makes it kind of dangerous. One of the instances the other night is I had a dude jump around a dumpster in the back on two of my guys that were coming out. Luckily, there was two of them, and the dude just took off. I'm constantly running people off out of the front for loitering. It's an everyday thing. In fact, 15 minutes before I drove here, I had to run one off from the front of Lane's Gifts, just basically laying there. You know, I get it. I know there's a lot of things down here that y'all are trying to do downtown, but on the drive here, I was quite shocked to see kind of all the things that y'all are dealing with down here. It's up by the interstate now, and in some of our prime real estate, and it is, to say the least, very difficult to deal with on a daily basis. And I learned a long time ago to ask for things nicely with sugar, not salt. So I'm here to ask for as much help as I can get in this situation. I do believe our main causes are partly the hotel, and I know the police department did a lot of work a long time ago on that particular situation. I don't know what happened there, but it is still a major cause of problems for me on every day, from the theft to the loitering to the other things I just mentioned. The second root of the problem is my father and I have Lane's Gifts as well. We're trying to do something with that building. We're trying to bring something to the town. And the landowner to the right over to the wooded area, I mean, he won't even mow his grass. The woods are to the front of the road. It completely blocks off any visibility coming down the access road to Lane's Gifts. And I know we have a city code and they have ordinances, and don't see them being enforced, and I would like to. The city called me not too long ago and said, you've got to put a sewer line in at your duplexes because my quote-unquote septic system was out of date. Well, it cost $20,000. I wrote the check and I got it done. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm just chubby cheeks. But I did my part as the guy that pays taxes in this city to do that. And I would like to see something done with that land to the right of Lane's Gifts as well, so that it looks more presentable. We're trying to build up the Arkansas side, not tear it down. And when you've got a set of woods sitting there on the frontage road, the entry to the city that we're trying to make look great, it just doesn't look that great. And I'd really like to see something done about that, if at all possible. The hotel, I don't think I need to say anything to any of you guys about it. It's terrible. It's not something that is an easy fix. I get it. It's going to take work from all perspectives, and it comes past the police department. All they can do is arrest them, and you know what happens then? They come and they're back out on the street. I've had one lady that comes up there and she was arrested one morning and she was back that afternoon. I mean, it's that simple. I need some help, and before something bad happens, and that's not what we want. We want to generate tax revenue. We want to pay our bills. We want to do everything we can for the city. And we'll help if we need be. Well, we need help from you guys to make that happen. And I sure would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers? Would you? Yes, sir.
First off, I'd like to say that I deal with, in doing business, 55 years on state line. I think I'm qualified to look over things, see when things are going good or not. But I'd like to tell y'all, I appreciate the Pledge of Allegiance before the meeting and the prayer. In all the companies I've dealt with, there's only one that does that at every meeting. And they say, if you don't like it, don't come back. Now let's get down to what we're talking about here. I have people come in Rogers Marine, where I've been 55 years, monthly. In the last 2 years, they're coming in and they say, what is wrong with Texarkana? I thought about coming to that new downtown district, the entertainment district, because I'm not coming down there with all these bums up and down the street. I know they have a right to beg for money, but they don't have a right to stand in the middle of the medians with a sign distracting drivers. And then when they get $1, they go out in front of the car and block traffic. It's every day. I go up and down the state line 2 to 4 times a day. We need help with the bumps. I had a couple in my store that said, what's this forest over here today at Lane's Gift? That doesn't look too good. And they're talking about leasing a building, and they're telling me the neighbor that lets it grow up from out into the interstate all the way back down through his 4 or 5 acres he's got there. And don't tell me there ain't bums in that thing, because I went there last Friday night and they had cut a hole in the chain link fence this wide. Mr. Mac Junkins had put up a more durable fence to try to keep them off his, but they're going around, and he's had people break into his storage buildings there. We need to help to get the bums off of our property and out of the neighborhoods so that we can do better for the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. And I don't think we're asking a lot for y'all to help us get that property cleaned up. That's the big thing. The girls of the night working out of the hotel next door, you run them out in the morning, they're back at night. We need help on this. We're asking for help. We're pleading for help. We need help. And you people, I know there's a limited amount of money, but a person that can have 4 or 5 acres that grows up and bums are living in it, if you won't believe me, I'll take you out there right now and show you that the bums are living and moving in and out of this property. What can we do? What can we do? We need your help. Now, we pay our part in taxes, so does everybody else. But I don't think anybody wants what's on Interstate 30, 2 blocks from State Line Avenue, where they're coming from bumming over there, living in the woods, we closed Lane's Gift in 19 for a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons, the women didn't want to be in the building because the bums would come up and come in the building and they'd have to call the police to get them out of the building. And so it's just something that we're trying to get some help. And we need your help. I know most of you people. I've grown up here. I've been with most of your people. I'm older than everybody here, I'm sure, but I know the people here, and I think everyone individually wants to do something too. And so we're coming down here begging for some help to help us clean this thing up and make our city better and make our property better also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board tonight during citizens' communication time? Anyone else? If not, we will move into our presentation phase, which is we have one item on our presentation part tonight, which is employee service awards that our city manager will be awarding tonight. I know that one of these guys is here. I'm not for sure about the other, but tonight we'll be recognizing Patrick Franks with TWU for 5 years. Is Mr. Franks here? Next will be Mr. Kenneth Eisenhower, TWU for 5 years. And our last is Mr. Dale Thornton with TAPD for 5 years. Is Mr. Thornton, he's not here, Bob. Give those all another round of applause. So at this time, we'll move into our, you know what? Or, let me look at something here. When are we doing the audit presentation? We're going to do it under regular? Just let Cynthia do it under there? I'm sorry, I thought it might be under presentation. We might have missed it. Okay. Okay. Moving into our consent agenda tonight, we have item number 2, which is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, August the 15th. Adopt a resolution to reschedule Board of Directors meetings for 2023 that conflict with certain holidays. Adopt a resolution approving the reimbursement of $29,210.30 to the Texas County Regional Airport from the American Rescue Act funds. Adopt a resolution to allow the Airport Authority to donate the Air Force radome to the Air Force Radar Museum. Adopt a resolution appointing Pre-Tree Banks to the Texarkana, Arkansas Public Employees Retirement System. Adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the East 28th Street, County Avenue to Hickory Street proposed 6-inch water main project. What is the desire of the board for the approval of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. So we're moving right along to our regular agenda tonight. Our item number 8 is to adopt a resolution accepting the year-end 2021 audit report. Cynthia, Tyranda? Cynthia?
Hopefully I can work that. So we have completed the audit for the fiscal year end 12/31/21, and things went really well. Want to note that we really appreciate the city, the finance department, and all of the other departments in the city that worked so hard to help us get the testing done and the audit done so that we could get this issued. Just to take up a few minutes of your time, I can figure out how to make this advance.
On the left-hand side, turn it on.
Oh.
I can click it for you.
Okay, I think I got it now, maybe.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so just a few things that I want to go over here. The objectives of the audit, the required auditor communications, a few financial highlights, and then the single audit and state compliance work that we did. So the objectives of the audit are to state an opinion on whether the financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, to report on your compliance with Arkansas state laws, report on your internal control over financial reporting and compliance requirements, issuing a report on compliance for your major federal program, which this year was the Community Development Block Grant Section 108 loan, and then issue a report on your compliance with state laws. And the financial statements are the responsibility of management, and all the information there was provided by primarily Tyronda and the finance team, and then our responsibility is to express an opinion on those financial statements. We are required by auditing standards to have certain communications with the board, and we had a workshop earlier and went over in a little more detail on the audit, and if anyone has any additional questions, Tyronda has my information, and you're quite welcome to call or email me any questions that you may have. One of the things that we're supposed to discuss is the difference between the auditor responsibility and management's. Our thoughts on the significant accounting policies, any audit adjustments, and the adjustments that were made were either outsourced to us or provided by the finance department. We had no issues on the quality of the city's accounting principles, and we encountered no difficulties in our work performing the audit. Your audit is it's a very long document, 230 pages, and it is broken down into these 4 sections. If you'd like an easy look at how the city has done the last 10 years, the statistical section shows that. Your federal awards were tested and come under this single audit section, and then the financial section has management's discussion about the past year, as well as your basic financials, the notes, and required supplementary information. What makes up the city's audit is governmental activities, which includes the general fund, public works fund, and your American Rescue Plan funds as major programs, which are tested as separate opinion units. Then the business type activities, which is audited in a separate audit, includes the Texarkana, Arkansas water utilities, and then the 2 non-major funds there. We test as a component unit the Arkansas Advertising and Promotion Commission, and then the other aggregate remaining fund information is tested together. That includes any non-major funds for governmental funds, your pension trust funds, and your custodial funds. And then other auditors perform the audit for the Texarkana Airport Authority, which is included in your report as a investment in joint venture, and the Texarkana Urban Transit District, which is also included as a joint venture in your report. As you can see here, your net position for the year went from 11 million last year to 15 million this year. This is a very brief highlight there, due to an increase in your change in net position. This slide basically shows you the different revenues and expenses that the city had. To come to that, and then have that same information in a bar chart so that you can see the different revenue streams, showing that sales tax and the charges for services were the primary revenue streams for the governmental activities of the city. And then you have police, fire, and public works that make up a large portion of the expenditures of the city for the year. The fund balance in general fund that is shown as unassigned at the end of the year and available for use, that did not change. The days outstanding, or the days available of 131 is the same as last year, and that is a very good number. The GFOA recommends having at least 60 days in that, so that's a good indication of the health of the city. And then I think these last few slides are probably the most important slides of the presentation here. In our testing for the single audits, the internal control over the financial reporting and compliance, the compliance for the major federal program, no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies were noted in our testing. The city received unmodified or clean opinions on all of that. And then on the other auditor report that we do on the examination of the city's compliance with Arkansas state law, also had an unmodified opinion with no issues noted there. So, had a very, very clean audit, as has been the case for a number of years.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Burns? Yes.
I got one, I don't know, $1 probably, top, financial person, and, yes, I think, and more likely,
Okay. Yeah, and if there's anything that Tyronda can't help you with, she can get with me and I can get you an answer.
Okay.
So,
What did it, when you say that, what did it, just say for instance, Public Works or somebody, we budget, in 2021, in 2021, I was 20, we budget, 9,000 or something. And then in 2022, we budget something, but it won't work. I guess I gotta stay with 2021. Just say they will budget a certain amount of money, but they didn't spend that money, but yet they carried that money over to the next year. How would that work with the audit?
that is standard practice in Arkansas, that things that have been budgeted and approved by the board that were not able to be completed, then that approval carries forward to the next year.
Oh, that's what, I know that would be your, that would be the finance director question, I guess, this question, okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question of Tyronda.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to know, Tyronda, how could you do any better job with our finances? I want to tell you how blessed we are to have someone like you and your staff that take great care of our finances. I don't think we could have any better staff than we have right now. So
Well,
I just
thank
want to say thank you.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate it. I have the best staff in the world. I couldn't ask for a better group of ladies, and that's why I'm able to get done what we're able to get done.
123 days, I've never heard that.
We-
The city of Texas, Arkansas.
We've been working really, really hard to build that fund balance. Director Minor has been here for all those years. Mayor Brown have never heard me just continually just harp on building a fund. That was probably one of the first things I did, was build a policy when I came in place to help build fund balance.
Remember
And so
when
we've
it was
worked.
dangerously low for several years.
It was. It was a little scary.
Praise the Lord.
Yes, sir.
I think the thing that really we're benefactors of the fund balance is what we did in this year's budget, because we stop and reflect that that's an audited financial number of 2021, and we've already spent a lot of that money in 2022's budget, so we wouldn't have been able to approve those things in our 2022 budget without that hefty fund balance.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be that high when we get this year with all the money and stuff that we've spent, but it certainly should be healthy. But we've had 2 really good years, and our citizens have benefited from that, in my opinion, by being able to go fix some things and do some things that we've been needing to do for a long time.
And now the mayor will probably agree with me on this one. I've been shouting from the mountaintops on years where we have a fund balance like we have the past 2 years. Let's not run to spend a lot of operating money. Keep our operating costs about the same and invest in your capital projects during that time. Those are your opportunity to get those one-time projects done and out of the way, and not really increase your operating costs until you see those type of increases for at least 5 years or more. So I stand on that principle of not increasing those operating costs until you see fund balances at that level for at least 5 years.
So I guess you just answered my question.
Okay.
Is there any other questions or comments? If not, we would have the city attorney read the resolution.
Thank you.
Whereas audits been prepared Whereas the audit has been reviewed by the Board of Directors, and whereas the city manager and staff recommend approval, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, County, Arkansas, that the 2021 audit is accepted, passed, and approved the 6th day of September 2022.
So the city attorney's read the resolution. What would be the desire of the board to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Assistant Mayor Hollebush,
Yes.
Director Minor,
Yes.
Director Hart,
Yes.
Director Roberts.
Yes.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes. Resolution is adopted. Our last item on the regular agenda tonight is item number 9, which is to adopt an ordinance to rezone a tract of land located at 3014 Lime Ferry Road from R1 Rural Residential to A1 Mixed Use Rural Zoning in order to build an event center with cabins on a 31-acre parcel that is also a residence. Ms. Beck.
Good evening, Mayor, Directors. Here we are again with an A1 zone request, and this one is for a large parcel of land. As you can see here, 31 acres. Instead of the zoning map, I thought the aerial would do more justice to show what's planned here. But this is a single-family dwelling that Mr. Thomas, the applicant, lives at. There is a single-family home to the north, a wooded area to the west, and this area to the south is, it was railroad tracks, and now it's just a kind of a wooded buffer zone. East Street runs right along here, so this is a commercial zone on the southwestern side. And you can see Cleve Batt's property on the right, where it's another large rural area with a water feature. The site is zoned R1 currently, and the surrounding zoning is R1 except for this area to the south, which is C3 commercial. The long-term comprehensive plan agrees with what's on the ground at this time, and of course, we didn't have the A1 option when it was adopted in 1988. The area where the development is planned would be around here, maybe a gazebo or something out on this feature in the lake, some cabins, and just a place where people could go for reunions or events. And it would be several hundred feet from any residence. We sent out letters to, I believe it's 13 adjacent property owners. We didn't receive any objections. We did have Mrs. Flores, who is with the church here. It was used to be Southside Church of Christ. She speaks Spanish exclusively, so her son and daughter came and translated because she had concerns. She just wanted more information if they were going to, cut these trees down, if it was going to be something that would be of concern to her. But when they found out what it was, they didn't have any objections. The property is on the entry's on Lynn Ferry. It's a local road. There's city water available. I don't know. Do you use city water or well water, Mr. Thomas? Well water. It's a septic system, and the cabins would have to be set up with a septic system. But Mr. Thomas works with that, and he's installed similar types of things. So he works with the health department in those, knowing that what would be appropriate. And
I'm a licensed installer.
yes, he's a licensed installer.
How many cabins?
Have you decided how many cabins?
Around 10.
It's a beautiful piece of property where it's at, and it would, which, we've got a lot of the A1 zoning in Ward 1, but that would be a really big asset to where that's at. It'd be a fantastic draw for Ward 1 in the city.
And it is 31 acres, so there's, the lake here that's about 4 or 5 acres. 10 acres? Okay. I'm just going by my mapping tool, but it didn't cover everything.
And this was approved unanimously by the planning commission, recommended.
Yes, Dr. Hickerson moved to approve, and Mr. Dupree seconded, and there was no opposition.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Beck? I remind the board, this is an ordinance to pass tonight. It would have to be read 3 times. What would be the desire of the board to have the ordinance read on its first reading?
First reading, abbreviated form.
So we have a motion and a second to have the ordinance read on its first reading in abbreviated form. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Assistant Mayor Hollowbush,
Yes.
Director Minor,
Yes.
Director Hart,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its first reading. What would be the desire of the board to have it read on its second reading?
Second reading, abbreviated form.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to have it read on its second reading. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Assistant Mayor Hollowbush,
Yes.
Director Minor,
Yes.
Director Hart,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 and for other purposes.
So the ordinance has been read on its second reading. What would be the desire of the board to have it read on its third and final reading tonight?
Third abbreviated form.
Second.
Motion and a second to have it read on its third reading. Is there any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Assistant Mayor Hollowbush,
Yes.
Director Minor,
Yes.
Director Hart,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 and for other purposes.
So the ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. What would be the desire of the board to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Prior to the board voting to adopt, is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this particular ordinance? Seeing and hearing none, could you call a roll, please?
Assistant Mayor Hollowbush,
Yes.
Director Minor,
Yes.
Director Hart,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, and the ordinance passes. Mr. Thomas, you're good to go. All right, moving right on in now to our Board of Directors commentary. Is there any board member that wishes to address the board? Anyone?
I would like to just talk for just a second. I've been working with Chief Jordan on making people aware that we have a problem down Realtor, not just on what was spoken in citizens communication, but we have folks that are walking down the road and riding bicycles down the road, and they're in the roadway, they're not on the grass. And I know our citizens have probably read where there's been 2 deaths by people walking down the road. I personally have almost hit a couple of people lately on those roads because it's so dark at night, and it's almost like they dare you to hit them. And so I've expressed my concern to Chief Jordan. He's been really good about making sure that when the police have time to get out there and monitor that situation, that they will be actively writing disorderly conduct tickets to people that are in the roadway. But I just want our citizens to be aware that it is a problem, and just be extra cautious when you're going down that road, that you see people walking, because we don't want to have another fatality. But I want to thank, Jay, always a pleasure to work with you, and Chief Jordan, thank you for being proactive on everything you're doing. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Director Harris.
Yes, I don't know where to start at. I'll try to limit it to 2 or 3 lines. I know that, city manager, you're working on, hiring a new chief, and I just wanna know, when you get down to 2 or 3 applicants, and I know it's gonna be your final decision, I would like, and I don't know if, I maybe sure some of the board would like, just to meet with your candidates and just have a little conversation with them, just to see what their mindset is on how they plan on wanting to run the city, you know, for the next so many years, because I know next chief you get here, he probably, or he or she, I mean, they say she, so I don't know, just may be here for a while. And so if you get that, then my other issue is charging station, you know, for cars. There's, I had read somewhere that the state of Arkansas gonna get about 54 million for to put around the state for charging vehicles. And I just want to know if the city, and I know the state gonna do it, but I know the city can probably do it too, or if I'm not mistaken. And I just noticed that today I just pulled up Easy Mart, and I'm not trying to advocate, but I just know Easy Mart got gas station at certain locations. I don't know if we could do that, but partnership with Easy Mart is possible, because I know they got a gas station on Jefferson. They got 2 on North State Line. They got 1 on Hickory. They got 1 on East Street by the Loop, 49. And they got 1 on North. And they got 2 on North State Line. And I just thought maybe if we was to try to partnership with them and see can the city go out on its own, and maybe try to get grant money and maybe try to put some car charging stations, because I'm hearing that, and based on just the location where Texas County is at anyway, you know, you 75 miles from Shreveport, 20 something from Little Rock, and maybe 143 from Dallas, give or take some miles. I mean, just think where Texas County is located, we shouldn't have no problem for getting that type of grant money. And then the other thing is I've been hearing some rumors about renaming some places in the city, and even though I had put in a request for the state of Arkansas at the Highway Commission myself, but I kind of want to know if we can wait till after the election before we get into that, trying to rename some property in Texas County after somebody, because I was going to wait till after the election, because I don't want the election to interfere in somebody, whether they want to vote for this person or this person. And I think take the political things out, if you kind of wait till after the election for that. And like I said, I had put in a request for my own self, but I also know that they may have to come back and start here with the city before the state can even review it. I don't know how that gonna work, but I had did it myself, so I discussed more, which I don't want to call no name out, but I know that the highway department would have to be involved in that situation. But I also know that the city and maybe the county also may have to be involved in that situation. So, but you know, and then my last question, comment. I'm gonna be the first one to say I don't drink, and I'm not trying to advocate alcohol, the drinking of alcohol. But I noticed a while that at one time Arkansas was a little bit above Texas, and I think that the voters would have to decide is about Sunday sale alcohol, you know. And the reason why I brought that up some time ago, I went on Texas side one day. I just noticed somebody had the buggies of beer in their buggies, but somebody was asking me, do Arkansas do that? And I think that it had to go through, the people would have to decide that. I don't think that we can do it by resolution, we can do it by ordinance, but I think we'd have missed that opportunity for that resolution or referendum.
I'm not sure, I'm not following what you're asking. Selling it or?
Sunday sale.
Oh, Sunday sale.
Because
Okay, I'm
Texas
sorry.
is doing that, and, you know, we used to, I think, if I can be wrong, I think when Texas started selling, our liquor sale dropped down maybe $400,000. I could be wrong. You got a city financial person, she got there. But like I said, I'm not trying to advocate alcohol. I'm just noticed that how we ain't on the same level in Texas. I know Texas don't sell hard liquor, but they do sell it on Sunday, and I know they had to go before the voters. I could be wrong, about that situation. But I don't think that we can pass an ordinance and do it, but since it was an election coming up, that could have went before the voters and see did they want to engage in that or they want to leave it like it is. I just noticed how Texas have surpassed. I don't know if they have surpassed us in the sale of alcohol, and that's something I could probably ask the financial director about that. Have our liquor sale had it decreased since Texas have started selling it? But I was telling somebody else, you don't know. Also, they able to sell on Sunday after 12 o'clock, and I think that the voters have to do that. I don't think we can pass a resolution to do it. And like I said, I don't drink myself, so, but I always just think people should be responsible drinking if they decide to do it. I'm just throwing that out just for information, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other board comments? The couple I will do, one is the City of Texarkana, Arkansas. We have a workshop coming up Tuesday, September the 13th. The Texarkana Water Utilities, and I guess the airport budget has been added to that workshop on September the 13th at 5 o'clock. Also, we will have an executive session after our next board meeting for the purpose of reviewing the city manager. I have all the documents in, so we'll be going over that for a few minutes after our next meeting, on whatever day that's on.
September 19th.
September 19th. Okay. Jay?
Mr. Mayor and board members, I've got a couple items for you. Also on the 19th, I wanted to remind you that we will be doing a presentation to you that night about public works, where we are, what their workload is, trying to give you some data in relationship to how much work they have gotten done this year, and looking at some data that hopefully we will be using in the future in our monthly report as well. I'll try to tell you what volume of calls come in, how many potholes might get patched. We're looking at how to give you some additional information that we hadn't been giving you. So we will make that presentation on the 19th. We did have our workshop about the looking at redistricting or changing the lines for the wards. So I will take any direction y'all everybody was not present that night, so if I have any direction from you, I'll be glad to move that forward or wait for y'all to make that recommendation yourselves. But again, our study is complete. We've given a couple of recommendations to look at, and then it's up to y'all to make that final determination and bring it forward. If you'll let me know, I'll get that in the budget process whenever we're ready to move it forward. I did send out National Night Out today to you, so go ahead and get that on your calendars for October the 4th. And I know many of you will participate in that as well. We've got some future contracts coming. We have started at least a discussion with our haulers about additional or changing their contracts, so those will be coming this fall at some point in time as well, back to you. And our budget process has already started. I did want to say congratulations to Kenny, who was here earlier. He is now the Assistant Director for TWU and has been promoted to take that role for us. And so when you see him, I thought he was going to hang around for me to say that, but he snuck out on me. But we look forward to working with him.
He was afraid the report was going to be too long.
It's correct. And so pay attention to your city calendar on your list as well, too. Lots of things happening at the rec center and a lot of things happening this fall in our community. That's all I got, Mayor.
All right. All right, any other business to come before the board? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Could you call the roll, please?
Assistant Mayor Hollabush?
Yes.
Director Minor?
Yes.
Director Hart?
Yes.
Director Roberts?
Yes.
Director Harris? Mayor Brown?
Yes, we're adjourned.